What's going on, guys? It's Low Floored and welcome back to another SCUM video. Tomislav has been teasing a bunch of stuff that is supposed to be coming in patch 0.7 and other stuff that will be implemented after 0.7. And today we're going to be looking at this concept art that Tomislav leaked out, as well as taking a look at other pieces of information to understand what this can be and what it means for SCUM. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about this, so I wanted to give my thoughts on what I think this is and if SCUM is going into another direction. So hear me out with what I have to say, and if you manage to make it to the end of the video, then a like and a sub would be appreciated, and thanks to you guys for the support. Now let's get into the video. So we're gonna start off with this concept art right here. And at first it kind of threw me off because I thought we would be seeing some stuff hanging in mid-air, which kind of reminded me of playing on Zen and Half-Life, but that's not totally the case because this is going to be some sort of tunnel that goes underground. And you can kind of tell by the entrance here, and apparently there's another entrance at the bottom which looks like you can take a boat here as well. When we take a closer look, we can see that there's a bunch of fires all around this cave or underground area or whatever you want to call it, and the fires seem to be heating up these eggs that are all around this cave as well. I'm guessing they need this heat source for these eggs to hatch. There also seems to be some type of radiation or poison from some of these areas because we can see little stink lines around some spots. So we may need a gas mask to enter these areas. Now we may be wondering, well, what are in those eggs? Well, if we take a closer look, we can see that it looks like there's a huge spider in the middle of the concept art, which led me to believe that this isn't an ordinary spider. This is a spider that Tech One has modified for their own personal agenda, and we'll get into that later. We can also confirm that this is a spider because if we look at the right, we can see that there's like a catacomb or eggs wrapped in webs right here. Now I'm not too sure if this is going to be a place for a spider boss or maybe a mission for a quest, or maybe if it's even something bigger and this is a place where some group that is controlled by Tech One stays at, so they can cause chaos on the island, but kinda seems a bit odd at first look. The only reason I feel like it's not just a place where the spiders hang out is because if we take a look at this document that Tomislav showed off on Twitter, then we can see at the top right that it says the Wild Hunters. The Wild Hunters might be the ones that actually live here because of Tech One, and I'm just gonna read this off for you guys and then we'll discuss. The story behind these creatures is grim and sad. Before the island was turned into a TV show, citizens were dwelling there, common folk. The company not only took their jobs but also did everything to push them off the island. Nobody realized what was going on. The company's operatives poisoned water and food sources, which caused many people to get ill and die from cancer. However, some of them survived and were claimed to be dead by the company itself. Their burials were staged, and the company took them deep underground in the hidden facilities to study their immune system, which turned out to be resilient, even some serious diseases like cancer. Kids and women were mostly testing subjects, and they were seldom exposed to different experiments which included drug cocktails, synthetic hormones, and radiation to provoke their immune system. The purpose was to create the serum capable of restoring the body from almost any type of disease or physical damage. The company soon got results, and Phoenix Tears was created. Phoenix Tears is an experimental secret military-grade injectable that provides rapid and instantaneous stabilization and recovery of any and all injuries at once, perhaps even death. So pretty much Tech One had poisoned people that were living on this island before it became what we know as SCUM Island, and many people died from disease, and a lot of women and children that survived were tested on to create a serum that can restore their body from any type of disease or physical damage. It seemed like the testing was successful because they finally created a serum called the Phoenix Tears. So this thing can pretty much recover all of your wounds and diseases immediately. But there's also a chance that you can die from this as well. So I'm not too sure if this is going to be a serum that we can find on the island for us prisoners to use, or maybe it will be part of a certain quest where we need to retrieve it, and maybe the spider lair is where we need to go to retrieve it. Or maybe it's something completely different. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now, I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter and YouTube comments that think that SCUM is going to a more fantasy style game, but to be honest, this has always been a thing in the game. And I wouldn't even call it fantasy, I would call it more of a sci-fi thing more than anything. If you've seen my video on the comics of SCUM, you will see that Tech One has tested on people for cloning, and I'm sure many other stuff, and the outside world seems to be somewhat of a cyberpunkish universe, so this all makes sense from a lore perspective. I definitely check out that comic video so you can get an idea of the lore that SCUM has. If you guys have the first supporter pack for SCUM, you can open up the minigame design document and take a look at some lore as well. When you get to the name of the game, you'll see that prisoners drop from a plane onto the island. which is why we're getting planes, and this is also the new way that we will be spawning onto the island in 0.7. Moving down to encounters, we can see for the purposes of the show, the producers also strangle control over the weather conditions. Most of the time they leave it as is, but sometimes when necessary for the atmosphere, they change the ambient setting by pulling clouds and starting storms. Large-scale disasters such as forest fires, probably where Mr. Brenner will be, earthquakes, and floods can be initiated at will. Even genetically modified pests can be released, which makes sense as to why we'll be seeing a huge spider on the island. But we're gonna move on to the next couple paragraphs right here that give us a bit more information on the lore. Companies have invested large sums of money on bioengineering. Years of research and development have been spent to create special animal breeds for military purposes and attacks. These animals wear implants with the last generation of BCUs, have a natural body armor, and some of them even possess bioweapons, while others are genetically modified crossbreeds. It's not unusual for these species to be tested on the island. The company would drop a few of those creatures on a certain area and leave them to cause havoc until they are dead. Each generation of these bioanimals get improved until the perfect killer is created. Which makes sense as like to why we're going to be seeing that dude with like the baby on his back. But moving on, in the second season, company will introduce special hunting session episodes featuring viewers as participants of the show. Some of them are rich citizens and others are picked as lottery winners. They are deployed on the island for a limited time period, about 1 to 3 days, and then they're left there to hunt for the prisoners. The hunters with high scores are given wealthy rewards, usually money or stocks, but most of them are there for fun and glory. Their goal is to track down popular convicts and kill them. The more popular victims will assure more praise from the audience. All the hunters choose their weapons and armor. They are usually heavily equipped, but that does not guarantee that they will get out of the island alive. Actually, the morality rate among them is high because most of them come to the island unprepared. Also, the convicts see them as a fantastic opportunity to get a hold of weapons, armor, and other tech toys. It's not unusual that the convicts turn the tables and hunt the hunters down to get their goodies. And guess what? That is what the viewers like the best. Once their deployment time runs out, the hunters have to pick a zone where some sort of transportation awaits them. If they miss their ride, they remain on the island until the next group of hunters is deployed. So I think this is where we were talking about the wild hunters. I think they're going to be placed or dropped onto the island, and these are going to be things that we have to kill so we can get high tier loot, armor, and other tech goodies, as they say. So I think this is going to be interesting for them to talk about later on, maybe for point 8, because I don't think this is going to be coming in point 7, but this is still something to take note of, and this is also going to be something I think is going to be really fucking cool to have. But moving on several occasions, special military squads can be deployed on the island, which sounds really good because I know that's what a lot of people want. They want some military NPCs on the island. The purpose of their deployment is to destabilize larger and organized groups of prisoners or to eliminate popular convicts who pose a threat to national security. These black ops are usually hidden from the TV cameras, and the last known black op happened during the second season and is a rescue mission for the survivors of the flight MB324, the plane that crashes on the island. Apparently, the producers have deliberately crashed the plane to boost the number of viewers. So I know a lot of you, including myself, have been wanting some type of military NPCs to, kill and grab more loot and all that good shit. So it seems like this still is in the pipeline, and I think probably we'll be seeing this more farther along in the development. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this all works in game. I don't think this is going to take away from the survival style of this game because the game has always been a sci-fi type of survival, but the lore was never fully realized, and it seems like they're implementing more lore as we're already halfway through early access. I mean, we already have BCUs, drones, mechs, and other stuff on the island, so this is just building on that foundation that we already have right here. But it's not like they're stripping away or not adding regular military NPCs because those will come into effect in due time as well. The whole reason why we're going to be getting these monsters and stuff like that is because of Tech One's desire to create them for military purposes and just ruin prisoners' lives for views. But that's it for this video, guys. I would love to hear what you have to say. I know for some of you this may be coming out of left field, but this whole concept has been in the works for a very long time. It will certainly be interesting in the way that Game Pirates handles it, but I personally think that in due time it will make for some interesting gameplay besides raiding bases and just regular survival. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you like the direction that SCUM is going in? What concerns you about the lore and monsters that are coming into the game? Let's talk about it. But that's it for me, guys. Thanks for popping out to the video. I really do appreciate it. I'm low floored, and stay toasty out there.